local, late-breaking. This is WDSU News at 6.
There is a victim in this case. It is important we ensure that our criminal justice system protects that victim and seeks proper justice.
Tonight, 3 teens are behind bars accused of sexually and physically assaulting a woman and sharing the attack on Facebook Live. Good evening, I'm Salah Kim.
And I'm Scott Walker. Thanks for joining us. 2 17-year-olds and a 19-year-old are charged with sexual battery and kidnapping. The assault happened Tuesday night. Gulfport, Mississippi police say the video has been viewed now more than 48,000 times. The police chief said there has to be a change in the culture of social media to stop crimes like this.
I applaud the members of our community. Our phones have rang off the hook. Not people being voyeurs, but people trying to help us in this criminal investigation. And we're going to be moving forward as that information continues to unfold.
The police chief called on legislators to create tougher laws against crimes on social media.
WDSU's Travers DeMackle spoke with a social media expert and has more on why that request may be easier said than done. Travers?
Well, Scott, because regulating who watches what on social media sites like Facebook is nearly impossible, especially when it's a live video. In Louisiana, there are video voyeurism laws as it pertains to disseminating lewd and lascivious material online. But numerous lawmakers in Baton Rouge tell us that there are no specific laws that pertain to posting crimes on streaming services like Facebook Live and other sites. The police chief in Mississippi, where the latest crime happened that was posted on Facebook Live, says more needs to be done in that state and in this area.
I wish people would look at just how warped our society has become. We videotape pain and suffering, then we share it and we view it over and over.
He's got the right idea. I don't know if there's ever going to be a way to legislate how social media works and how people use it, but maybe on the back end, there's got to be some sort of a rule. Maybe it's some sort of Facebook Live law. If you do something wrong and upload it to Facebook Live, that's an extra charge.
Lawmakers in Baton Rouge say any legislation to enforce laws on people looking at live streams on social media sites is almost impossible and will be an uphill battle. Sulla?
All right, Travers, thank you. Turning now to weather. We had afternoon showers. It was all caught many people off guard today as they made their way through town. Look at that poor lady without an umbrella.
You know what Margaret would say about that, right?
Yes, you need the WDSU weather app.
Yes,
and you sure
weren't
do.
paying attention to Margaret's forecast. She said to expect this today.
And don't leave home without that umbrella. Right. So what's really cool, I love that WDSU weather app because it tells you when there's lightning nearby, when there's rain nearby, and you're
Not
totally
just
prepared.
You
Well, I know.
It's a little creepy
voice.
sometimes.
Oh, come on, stop it. All right, so let me show you what's happening. The good news is the rain beginning to diminish. So let's zoom in where we've got this activity, mainly on the North Shore into Livingston Parish. So we've had this major storm by Hammond. It's now died down. It's moving to the southwest. We can look at this in 3D, and that's a storm that's heading right over towards Gonzales and also Lutcher. Had some pretty heavy rain near Bogalusa. Now it's dying down, and some showers as well near Picayune. Then we had a little storm fire up right over the metro because we had heated up again. It's moving to the west right there by the Bonnie Carey Spillway. To the south, the truth is not much now, which is great news. But a quick look at that forecast model, some rain this evening, dies down, and then it's going to fire up again in the morning hours. So what you can expect this weekend coming up and why we're going to be getting more water spouts. That's in a moment.
Margaret, thank you. St. Tammany property tax collections are going up after Sheriff Randy Smith rolled forward millage rates this morning.
Well, some people claimed on social media that the sheriff was increasing the rates as retaliation against voters who voted down a sales tax to support the jail earlier this year. North Shore reporter Heath Allen joins us from the North Shore now with what this means to St. Tammany property owners. Heath.
Well, it'll mean something, but not quite as much as what most people would think. A lot of social media chatter after Sheriff Randy Smith indicated his intention of rolling forward those property tax millage collections. But it's a perfectly normal and perfectly legal thing to do, and the sheriff says his department needs the money.
A a lot of false information that floats around that gets misconstrued as what's really going on.
Public agencies like the Sheriff's Office receiving property tax millage dollars can decide to use all or only part of the maximum approved by voters. Financial times were better last year, so Sheriff Randy Smith rolled back millage rates. This year, after the defeat of the tax to support the jail,
I made the decision to roll the millage forward to the maximum amount allowed by law.
It is not a tax increase, but utilizing all of the property tax millage revenue legally available. For the average St. Tammany Parish property owner, millage collection goes up 35 to 40 cents or so a month, about $5 a year. It will generate about $800,000 to the Sheriff's Office. The move got a lot of play on social media. Many were confused and showed up this morning to find out what's actually happening.
I thought they were going to change our millages without a vote. And it sounds that way, but it's actually not. They're rolling back, they're rolling forward what they're allowed to collect that was already voted on.
Frustration's more the word. I wouldn't say anger. This doesn't make me angry, but it definitely concerned and frustrated, yes.
Some call the roll forward retaliation against voters for defeating the jail tax, but Smith says his department simply needs the money.
This money is used to balance the budget with the cuts and helps prevent me from laying off another 15 deputies.
So once again, what does it cost St. Tammany Parish property owners? About 35 to 40 cents per month, about $5 a year. Goes into effect now for the 17-18 fiscal year. In Covington, Heath Allen, WDSU News.
Heath, thank you. From getting out of the intensive care unit to now having his condition upgraded to fair, Congressman Steve Scalise continues to recover nearly a month after being shot in the hip. Today, officials with MedStar Washington Hospital said the House Majority Whip had yet another surgery for the management of a deep tissue infection related to his bullet wounds. They say he will continue to require careful monitoring and again remains in the hospital.
A Metairie man has been arrested in connection with a deadly bar fight. The Jefferson Parish Sheriff says 34-year-old Jarvis Green and the victim, 47-year-old Michael Coffey, got into a verbal altercation inside of the Buffalo Billiards bar on Saturday. Well, it escalated when investigators say Green punched Coffey twice, knocking him unconscious. Coffey was taken to the hotel where he was staying with friends after he regained consciousness. Then he went to the hospital on Sunday and he died 2 days later. Doctors say he had massive head trauma. Green was arrested yesterday and charged with manslaughter. The man accused in a quadruple homicide in Metairie has been indicted. 20-year-old Armand Tart is accused of shooting 3 of the victims and stabbing a 4th to death. This happened at an apartment complex on Pasadena Avenue in March. Tart is charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and obstruction of justice. The first-degree murder charges allow the DA to seek the death penalty. Next at 6, putting a stop to the opioid epidemic, what experts say is to blame for what officials call the worst addiction crisis in U.S. history.
Plus, changes to the Senate health care bill, what GOP leaders are doing to help states, and why proposals from one Louisiana senator may hurt their chances of passing the legislation. Kenner City leaders are getting ready for the first ever Freedom Fest. It happens in Lake Town Labor Day weekend. Mayor Ben Zahn says the festival and developments around it will benefit the Kenner economy. The focus, helping local businesses and promoting the city's lakefront.
We're going to bring families out here. We're going to bring businesses that come out here to be able to offer their foods and drinks and stuff that they're selling out here, which will help the tax base overall, but it's going to promote family. It's a family fun atmosphere like we do with other events throughout the parish, and that's why I'm honored to be a part of this, because it's going to help promote the asset we have in Kenner, the lakefront area.
The festival kicks off September 3rd at 2 p.m. The lineup includes Jenna Hunt's 90 Degrees West, The Voice contestant Laura Dusky, Chase Bryant, and it closes with Maddie and Tate.
Well, summer is winding down, but leaders with the New Orleans Recreational Development Commission is keeping the fun going for thousands of area kids. Today, 1,900 children got to enjoy Storyland at City Park, one of 2 waves of summer campers getting to end out the season there. Many of the young people have been in Nord summer camps for more than 6 weeks. Today's outing at the Carousel Garden wasn't just another field trip, but it was also an opportunity for campers to show what they've learned all summer.
One of the biggest reasons is for the socialization, but also to reward behavior as well, and also success of the programming from the children and also from the staff as well. It was a great time.
And today's campers got to show their creative sides with performances that brought together all that they have learned this summer.
Still ahead, getting creative and a bit wet. I'll tell you more about the North Shore Summer Camp that has students getting hands-on for an unforgettable experience.
And coming up tonight in prime time at 7 o'clock, it's America's Got Talent. Then at 8, The Wall. That's followed by The Night Shift at 9 o'clock. And then join us for WDSU News at 10, followed by The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon.
Live, local, late breaking. This is WDSU News at 6 with Scott Walker, Sulla Kim, Chief Meteorologist Margaret Orr, and sports with Fletcher Mackel.
A panel of scientists says the FDA needs to review the safety and effectiveness of all opioid painkillers. The report released today as U.S. prosecutors announced more than 400 people were charged who took part in healthcare fraud and opioid scams. The researchers said the FDA should consider the real-world impact painkillers have, not only on patients, but also on families, crime, and the demand for heroin. Health and Human Services Secretary Tom Price today calling healthcare fraud a violation of trust.
Many would suggest that part of the reason that we're having one of the challenges that we're having is because the federal government stepped in about 20 years ago and said that pain is a fifth vital sign. And that physicians and other providers were incentivized to prescribe opiate narcotics.
The report details how prescription painkillers and heroin led to the worst addiction crisis in U.S. history, and it provides a plan for turning back the tide of overdose deaths.
And Senate Republicans unveiled their newest health care bill today. The new version contains new funding for opioid treatment and gives money to states to help lower premiums for high-cost enrollees. But the plan keeps 2 Affordable Care Act taxes on the wealthy and maintains significant cuts to Medicaid. The GOP needs 50 votes to pass the bill, which may be difficult with some lawmakers like Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy pushing their own proposals.
By the way, if we couple this with the Ted Cruz amendment, which allows people to purchase insurance through health savings accounts, you could imagine that a state would put money into someone's health savings account with which she could then purchase the insurance which she needed. The essential health benefits would still be there. We can't repeal those as part of this process, and so you would still have the protection.
Senator John Kennedy released a statement today about the Senate health care bill. He says the latest version corrects a funding issue that would have affected Louisiana unfairly, and that he is glad that's fixed so that, quote, we can focus on creating a health care system that actually works. And in the meantime, Congressman Cedric Richmond says different draft, same effect. In his statement, he said the Senate Republicans should focus less on trying to get their politics right and spend more time trying to address the real health care concerns of hard-working American families.
North Shore students are underwater at their summer robotics camp and uncovering an adventure of a lifetime.
WDSU's Damon Singleton caught up with some of the kids at their aquatic robotics camp to find out more about their unforgettable experience.
Hey guys, we're still here in Madisonville at the Lake Pontchartrain Basin Maritime Museum, where they're holding a STEM camp for some 24 kids who are here to learn about robotics. I'm here with Tyler, who is one of the counselors and the mentors here at this camp. And Tyler, you actually started out here as a camper a few years ago.
Yes, sir, I did. I started out 3 years ago. It was my first time being a camper, and last year was my first time being a mentor.
Wow. And so what do you think?
It's great. I love it because it's something not a lot of people get to do, and the kids get to keep it. They get to have it for as long as they want, and if something goes wrong, they can always fix it and keep it for longer.
Wow. And what is the it? What do the campers do? What are they building? What are they learning?
They're building robots that will be able to pilot underwater, and will have a camera so that they can see underwater as well. And it's a basic robot, but they can also add on stuff as they want, do whatever they want with it when they get home. But they learn principles about buoyancy, sealing electronics, and having them survive underwater. They also learn about robotics, movement, engineering.
We've got some future engineers here?
Possibly. There are quite a few people who are interested.
Yeah. How about yourself?
I'm looking more at the computer science side of things, but yeah.
Look, that's cool too. Thanks a lot, Tyler. Appreciate your time.
Same with you.
Well, great things happening here in Madisonville. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Damon, thank you. Turning now to weather. We've had some pop-ups all afternoon.
Yeah, getting a little old.
I know, and it's going to get older.
But that looks all right behind you. That's
I know,
clearing.
it's pretty, yeah, South Shore is not that bad, but wait, let me show you our live radar, and what you're going to see is a shower that just kind of popped up right over the metro, moved to the west, now southwest, heading towards Destrehan, Hahnville, you've got the rain. Luling, it's going to be there by 6:26. So the good news is not a lot of lightning. All right, let's look at the big picture. You know, for the past few days, we've really been talking about this tropical moisture moving into the Gulf of Mexico. So what's happening? Not expecting any tropical development. Too many upper level winds to cause it issues. So we can look at what the forecast is. We're seeing a front to the north. It's not going to move through. Just a lot of moisture moving in. And as we heat up each day, which we will, well, then you're going to have more rain and storms firing up. It does look like Sunday, though, is going to be the day with the highest chance of rain. So today we had water spouts, at least 3 of them, and I rushed out to see them and missed them. I was very disappointed. But this one from Brian Gossman, he took it from the UNO Tech Park. And then another one a little bit later from Casey Grimm, who was moving some boats. So that one was at 11:20. Here is a look at the storms. You can see them moving to the south. So we just had winds kind of converging, a couple of little storms developed, and you had those water spouts develop. Same type of thing is going to be happening over the next few days. Here is a look at what's happening now. We've got some lightning with that storm close to Destrehan. North Shore, much improved, but a little earlier, a major storm over there by Hammond. Here is a look at this system. It just fired up, and it's because we heated up. It is moisture and heat that's causing these thunderstorms. So there you can see some lightning with that storm right along the Bonnie Carey Spillway. A little bit of lightning at Timbaleer Bay. So we can look at rainfall totals, and some of us got pounded and others not so much. Downtown, a half an inch, airport, a half an inch. Over at Hammond, it was about an inch of rain. This is what it looked like by Folsom. Cam Dotrieve sent that in. And then NOLA rain. This from David Moore. Yes, we're going to have lots of visits from rain. High temperatures today, upper 80s to the low 90s. Same thing tomorrow. Right now it's 83 degrees, a thunderstorm right there at the airport. The wind is calm and the humidity is very high. Temperatures range from 72 over at Hammond to really 85 at Galliano. So we've cooled down because of all of the rain. Right at 9 o'clock, still a slight chance of rain. Temperatures near 70. Morning lows from the low 70s to the upper 70s to near 80 degrees. High temperatures tomorrow, upper 80s to the low 90s. Very similar to today. If you're going to the beach, you really have to keep an eye to the sky. And if you hear that thunder, you've got to get off of the beach. Tidal range not so great now. It's at about a half a foot. And the winds are not strong except in thunderstorms. So as we look at that forecast tomorrow afternoon, rainstorms, heat, and then not as hot. Here we go into the week. Sunday, I've got that higher rain chance, and then Monday as well. After that, rain chances finally begin to go down.
Hi, Margaret, thank you. The Pelicans are pursuing a veteran point guard. Fletcher has details on the team's meeting with Rajon Rondo.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Fletcher Mackel. And do you smell that? Can you smell what I'm smelling right now in your home? It's the smell of desperation. And it's emanating from Pelicans headquarters on Airline Drive. The Pelicans met with free agent point guard Rajon Rondo today at his home in Louisville, and they are reportedly very close to signing the 31-year-old veteran. If that happens, it's a desperate move for a desperate franchise led by a desperate general manager. Sure, the Pelicans need a legit starter in the backcourt to play with Drew Holiday, but on paper, Rondo is a terrible fit. All offseason, head coach Alvin Gentry has said his team needs more shooting, and Rondo is a terrible shooter. Just 30% career from three-point range. A former champion with the Boston Celtics, Rondo has played with 4 teams the previous 3 seasons, wearing out his welcome with the Dallas Mavericks and the Chicago Bulls. Mavs head coach coach Rick Carlisle said if he could do it all over again, he'd have never brought Rondo to Dallas. The Chicago Bulls suspended Rajon Rondo for a game last year after a feud with an assistant coach. On the positive side, Rajon Rondo is close with DeMarcus Cousins and is still a very good defender and playmaker. He also has a relationship with Pelicans assistant coach Darren Erman from their time together in Boston. Pelicans Summer League action, the team taking on the San Antonio Spurs. Quinn Cook had 16 points and 7 assists, 1 assist right here to Sheck Diallo. This game came down to the final shot. Pelicans with a chance to tie it, but Quinn Cook turns it over. Not a good play right there, so the Spurs go on to win. The final score from Sin City, 86-84. Now to last night's ESPY Awards. New Orleans was well represented. Jarius J.J. Robertson received the Jimmy V Perseverance Award, and Peyton Manning hosted the event. Peyton was laugh out loud funny, but did all the athletes enjoy the jokes?
I love that the Final Five won the most Olympic medals of any U.S. women's gymnastics team ever. And our gymnastics team was so dominant that Kevin Durant told me he wants to play for them next year.
Durant got crushed on social media for not having a sense of humor, but he was in on the joke. ESPN's Chris Haynes tweeted earlier today, for those interested, I'm told Kevin Durant was in on the Peyton Manning gymnastics team roast at the ESPYs 2017. KD played his part well. He played it very well.
Do you want to say who called that was a big joke last night right here on the set when we saw it?
You said it wasn't on the joke, right? Yeah. You said all along. He can't deadpan. That's right.
Yeah.
You said it all along.
Too much of a deadpan.
Also, tonight at 10, we'll talk about the Jesters and their huge game on Friday night.
Scott and I thoroughly enjoyed that sportscast.
Yes.
It was the best.
Best start to a sportscast.
It was the best sportscast.
The smell of desperation.
That was really good. It's very creative.
Dramatic effect. That's it for us at 6.
We'll see you back here at 10 o'clock.